everybody, Shockz16 back once again for the Renegade Master, and this is the second part of my 700 subs Q&A video series. Is it a series? There's more than one video, so yes, I think that officially makes it a series. But there will be a third part after this as well, because there's still more questions that need answering, believe it or not. But for this episode, we're going to stick exclusively just to the questions that was asked me on Twitter. So yeah, ones that was asked me on Facebook and YouTube, they will be in part 3. So yeah, I've got my trusty laptop with me, so I can just read the questions out as we go along, and hopefully we're going to get through them quicker than we did in the last video. So without any further ado, here's the 700 subs Q&A Twitter edition. Let's get going. So our first question comes from Kent. That's the person, not the place. Better known as Riddler on YouTube. And he says, well done, mate. Thanks a lot, mate. After the Saturn set is completed, do you have any desires on other systems to focus on, excluding the Neo Geo? Well, if we're excluding the Neo Geo, which wouldn't have been in there anyway, because, yeah, you've got to have money like 1-0 on that. You've got to have deep pockets to focus on a Neo Geo collection, in my opinion. But yeah, other systems, desires, in the sense of a full set, no. Nothing I want to full set again, but the console that I will be probably be focusing on next is going to be the PlayStation 1. And that's because I'm taking the Cojones de Loro kind of route on collecting now. Now that the Saturn set is done, everything else that I buy now is just going to be pure nostalgia driven. So yeah, I just want to start building back the PlayStation 1 collection that I had as a kid. I was a kid, early teenager. But yeah, because a lot of my games used to be copied backups. So yeah, I wouldn't mind getting like the ones that I really loved and played the most on, like brand new, complete as they should have been. So yeah, that's probably the next console that I will be focusing on, is the PlayStation 1. Thanks very much for your questions, Kent. So our next set of questions come from none other than Pete Sneztastic. He asks 5 questions. 5 questions? Bloody hell, mate. So yeah, first of 5 questions. He asks, do you plan on continuing to collect games once the Saturn collection is complete? If so, which system will you collect for next? Well, I've kind of just answered that, the PlayStation 1. So yeah, I am going to continue collecting games. PlayStation 1 is kind of my next focus, but there is other games for other systems as well. Like I want a few SNES titles, and I also want a few Mega Drive titles as well. Like I said, purely nostalgia driven, so I'm not going to be getting many, because I am kind of planning to go Everdrive on the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo eventually. Yeah, I just want a certain like handful of games that I had as a kid back for those systems. So yeah, and I also want a few Dreamcast titles as well. So yeah, I am going to keep collecting, and they're the systems that I'll be collecting for. So Peter's second question is, what are your current top 5 TV shows? Well, off the top of my head, it would have to be Arrow, The Flash, The Walking Dead, Ash vs the Evil Dead, and Hollyoaks. Of course, I'm only fucking joking. Nobody watches fucking Hollyoaks. Who watches that shit, eh? I don't know. Fucking 24. There we go. We go for 24. I like that. So Pete's third question is, how has YouTube affected your life? Not much really. Basically what I was doing in life before YouTube is the same stuff that I do now, and probably the same stuff that I'll do after YouTube. So on a serious way, then not really much at all. It's affected me in a way that, I don't know, I've probably become more photogenic. Like I'm able to talk to camera a little bit better now, only a little bit better. But if you watch my earlier videos, then you'll see that I'm really timid with no confidence and stuff like that in front of the camera. Whereas now I think I've kind of got a bit more confidence, and I think that I come across a little bit better on camera now as well. So yeah, it's affected me in that kind of way that, yeah, that I can talk to people via video a little bit better. It's also made me a little bit more open about my video games, my hobby for video games, my love for them and stuff like that. So yeah, that's been great, meeting new people and with the same hobbies and interests as you, and being able to talk about that has been great. So it's affected me in that way because I've made some really good friends via YouTube. But yeah, other than that, it's not, I wouldn't say it's affected me in any serious way or like that. So yeah, there we go. So Pete's fourth question: what makes you happy? Just the simple things in life, really, you know, family, good friends, loved ones, yeah, video games, of course, good movies, and of course chocolate, pizza and ice cream. There we go. And Pete's fifth and final question is, what life goals do you have for the future? Well, me, I'm kind of a take every day as it comes kind of guy. Yeah, I don't really make big plans for the future. I don't really plan too far ahead, and I don't really set myself any goals. And I know a lot of people will probably disagree that you shouldn't live your life that way. You should always have a goal that you can work towards and stuff like that. But I'm one of those people that thinks, you know what I mean, you might not even be here tomorrow. You know what I mean? You might go to bed tonight and you might not wake up tomorrow. So what's the point in making all these plans when you might not be here? I know it's like a kind of a grim way to look on life, but do you know what I mean? You're never disappointed. If you just live life from day to day, you're never really disappointed, are you? Because you're never really looking forward to much, are you? Do you know what I mean? So when something comes along and it's awesome, then it's even more awesome because it's a total surprise, because you didn't really plan for it and stuff like that. Whereas if you plan life goals and then you never achieve them, you're always going to be a little bit unhappy that you're not achieving the goal that you're after. So yeah, if I set myself a goal or a target, it's normally something short term and something easy that I know that I'm definitely going to get. So yeah, life goals, like I don't plan on all, like I know some people plan on stuff like, you know, I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have like this house, I'm gonna live here, I'm gonna have this job. For me, I'm not really bothered about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy with my life as it is, and if I become unhappy tomorrow or the next day, then I'll make a plan and then I'll change something about my life. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to make a load of future goals. It's just not the way I live. So yeah, I don't really have any really big future goals. But yeah, anyway, thanks for your questions, Pete. On to the next set. So our next set of questions come from none other than King Arthur, and he says, congratulations on hitting 700 subs. Thanks a lot, mate. And he says, my questions are, number 1, what are your top 5 Saturn games? So just off the top of my head again, it would have to be Shinobi X, Mega Man X3, KO Flying Squadron 2, Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Sega Rally. And his second question, he says, do you think you'll ever buy a cab? And by a cab he means an arcade cabinet, of course, not a taxi. So yeah, do you think you'll ever buy a cab? Not why I live here. Why I live in this place, no. If I ever move to a bigger place, then possibly. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really all that bothered. I mean, I've got the Neo Geo system, I've got an MVS, consoleized MVS and stuff, so I've got all the Neo Geo games. Do you know what I mean? The Saturn stuff don't really come on cabs anyway, does it? So, I mean, I know you can, like, put them into a cab or whatever. So, yeah, I'm not really all that fussed about a cab. I mean, it's nice to have one, but if I had, like, cabs, I'd like dedicated kind of cabs, and yeah, for all the games that I want dedicated cabs for, I'd need a big room, like, or a big garage or something like that, and it's space I ain't got at the minute. So while I live here, no. If I ever move in the future to a bigger house or something like that, then yeah, probably will. And thanks very much for your questions, mate. On to the next set. So next set of questions come from the legend that is Ninja Beer Hug. Yeah, Stu, mate, you need to get back on the tubes, mate. You really do. I don't think we'll ever see you. Will we ever see you again on the YouTube? I hope we do, because I really do miss your channel, mate. But yeah, anyway. Stu, Ninja Beer Hug, says, congrats, pal. Thanks a lot, mate. And his first question is, why the Saturn? Why not? Yeah, basically, I kind of answered this in my last video, but I'll say it again anyway. I got the Saturn close to release, like not long after it. It's something that I begged my parents for as a kid, and they came through for me and got it, but I jumped ship like just after a couple of years because I wanted to keep up with all the rest of the kids in the playground. So yeah, I jumped ship to the PlayStation 1, and it was one of the biggest gaming regrets ever. And I loved the Sega Saturn. I loved it so much that when I started collecting again, it was like a system that still had a lot of nostalgia for me. It still does, obviously. So yeah, that was the first thing that entered my head, was I need to get a Sega Saturn back and amass a collection for it again. And then that went one step further, and I thought to myself, you know what, I'll go for a full set on this, because I knew it was achievable. I added all the factors together, like cost, space and stuff like that, my budget and everything like that, and I knew it would be achievable. So yeah, that's why the Saturn, because it's just a system that I loved and I regretted getting rid of, and it's got a lot of nostalgia to me. And Stu's second question is, how many hats have you got? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll show you them to you and you can count as we go along, shall we? So first off, there's this hat, which is modern day Shockz. Then we have this hat, which is classic Shockz. This is the hat that I started wearing in the beginning when I first started my videos. And then there's this hat, another one which makes a regular appearance on the channel. This is my summer hat, so this is summer Shockz. And then there's this hat, which is actually a hat that is a couple of years old now, but it's too small for my head, so I don't really wear it all that much, although it has made an appearance in someone's Christmas special video before. And then there's this hat, which is of course a camouflaged, I don't know if it'll come out because of the green screen, but yeah, it's a woodland camouflage hat, which was actually bought for a short movie video skit that I was going to film, but it never actually never actually made it to actual filming, so don't know, maybe it will get used in the future. Then there's this hat, Snow Assassin Shockz. Yeah, basically it's just a white hat. I had it a couple of years now. I don't really make a lot of appearances on the channel. Has been seen in a couple of live streams though. Then there's this hat, Winter Walker Shockz. That's right, this is one that only really gets worn when it's really bad outside in the snow and stuff like that. I normally have it on. It's a little bit big for my head, but yeah, I like it. I like the peak on it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's basically a beanie with a peak. What more do you want? And then there's this hat, which was actually bought around Christmas, but it's not a Christmas hat, even though it does have the pom-pom on top. So yeah, yeah, I got this for Christmas. I like this hat. I've not worn it yet though. This is the first time wearing it, exclusive. And then there's this hat. This is the final hat in my collection. This is my newest hat, which, yeah, my new favourite hat, which will probably be getting worn a lot more, so we'll call this one Future Shockz. So there you go, that's all the hats that I currently own at the moment. I used to have a few more, but they've been thrown out because they got old. No doubt there'll be some more coming into the collection because, you know, a Shockz has got to have that hat drobe. Do you know what I mean? That hat game's got to be on par, do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there was all my hats. I hope you was counting along at home. It's like an episode of Sesame Street, this, isn't it? So yeah, anyway, thanks a lot for your questions, Stu. On to the next ones. Our next question comes from the Donovan Viper. He says, stuck in a lift for 24 hours with Interghost, Gashead and Monkey Spaz. Who would you kill first and why? And then in brackets he's put, yourself is an option. So yeah, I would actually take that option because, you know, stuck in a lift with those three fuckheads, that is every man's worst nightmare really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You'd have Interghost selling Monkey Spaz all his car boot finds, who would then be selling them off within seconds again. and then you'd have Gashead vlogging it all, wouldn't you? So yeah. Nightmare that, isn't it? Nightmare. So yeah, I'd kill myself first, and that's why. So our next set of questions come from Stu, aka Skunkworks. And he says, nice one, mate. Nice one, brother. His first question is, fave ever sports game? Well, if you're JL76, you know what's coming right about now, and that is none other than my favourite sports game is International Superstar Soccer Deluxe on the Super Nintendo. For me, this is just the pinnacle of sports games. It is brilliant. It's the game that I spent so much time on. When it comes to sports games anyway, it's like my most played sports game ever. It's the sports game that I always go back to if I want to play a sports game on a retro console. I just love that game. I could not get enough of it. Basically, FIFA, the first FIFA, is what got me into football video games. And when ISS Deluxe came around, I don't even know if it was released before. I don't think it was. It must have come after FIFA. But yeah, when that came around, FIFA didn't matter no more. This game was amazing. I thought it was so ahead of its time. It just had like, I mean, you could design your own football kits on it. You could do like player substitutions, and it was like, it had like a really good fatigue system on it. So like you had to substitute players and stuff on it like that. Which is a game like, which is something like in that day and age that you didn't really see in football games. Do you know what I mean? I think FIFA kind of implemented it as it went on and stuff like that, but this game for its time, it was just so ahead of its time, and yeah, it was just a really, really good football game, or soccer game if you live outside of the United Kingdom. Stu's second question is your favourite arcade memory. Well, this would have to be one of many, but yeah, one that really stands out would be Skegness Fantasy Island Arcade. Me and my cousin taking it in turns and beating the first ever Tekken game in the arcades. So yeah, that's my favourite arcade memory. Why? Because it was just a magical moment. We both loved that game. We was using King, who wasn't really a go-to character of any of ours, and yeah, we just beasted it. Do you know what I mean? And we had like other people watching us and stuff, and it just sticks out as a really good, one of my favourite ever arcade memories. So there you go, when me and my cousin beasted the first Tekken. And his last question is, any console you want but not gotten round to? Yes and no. Basically, I've got just about every console that I need, probably got more than what I need. But there is one console on my radar at the minute, and that is the Mega CD or the Sega CD, depending on which region you live in. Yeah, that's kind of on my radar at the minute, so if I do end up getting another console, that will probably be the next thing that I pick up. But I'm not really bothered if I do or don't get it, so yeah, whatever. So the next set of questions come from a good friend of mine, Tom Agnello, aka Tommy Churchill, aka Oswald Cobblepot, aka whatever he's calling himself on Twitter now. Whatever it is, the man of many names. Anyway, his first question is, what would you like the next GTA to be like? Well, GTA 5 for me was kind of perfect. It was great as it is. Is there really that much more you can add to GTA? So basically, I would just say everything from GTA 5 with a little bit more, maybe more customized options, maybe more interiors, maybe more things to do with the internet and the apps on your phone and stuff like that. And yeah, and set it in Vice City, because Vice City is my favourite GTA game. So yeah, they keep skirting around going back to Vice City for some reason. I'm not sure why, but whatever, we need to get back to Vice City. So yeah, GTA 5 in Vice City, and I'll be an happy man. And Tom's second question is, what game of old would you like remastered for current gen? Well, that's an easy one for me. It would have to be Road Rash. Road Rash is an amazing racer game where you can twat people and stuff like that. Everybody knows what Road Rash is, but imagine it on current gen system, current gen graphics with online playability. That would be amazing. That's all they need to do. They don't need to reimagine it or like that. They just need to like just update the graphics and stuff like that and give it online play. Don't mess around with it. The game's perfect as it is. That's all you need to do. Bring back Road Rash. So the next set of questions come from Paul, aka Lilac Floyd, and his first question is, what was your first arcade experience? Obviously I can't remember the actual first arcade experience, but one of my earliest arcade experiences that I can remember is I went to a place called the Vauxhall Holiday Camp in Great Yarmouth with my dad's side of the family and all my cousins and everything, and yeah, we never really went on holiday with my dad's side of the family, so that was like a first and only, I think. But yeah, I can remember walking into this arcade as a little kid, and the first thing I heard coming from the back of the arcade was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme tune from the cartoon, and I thought, I know that tune, where's it coming from? So I followed the sound, and there it was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, you know, the 4-player cabinet. And yeah, me and my cousins all played on it and had immense fun on it. So that was one of my first arcade experiences. And the second question is, do you ever play PC games? Short answer, no, not anymore. I used to back in the day. I used to play a lot of the tycoon games. Do you know, the kind of like SimCity-ish kind of games? So there you go, SimCity, Zoo Tycoon, Monopoly Tycoon, yeah, basically stuff like that, Mole Tycoon, all them kind of games that I was really into. And I also used to play Unreal Tournament online as well. When I first got broadband, yeah, in the early 2000s, then that was the first game I played online, was on the PC anyway, was Unreal Tournament. So yeah, not anymore, but I used to. Next set of questions come from the ledge himself, Owen, aka Labossu77. Everybody should know Labossu. If not, go out and check his channel out. Yeah, his first question is, if you saw an old lady in a charity store, wait, let me just read it. What would you do if you saw an old lady in a charity shop about to buy the last Saturn game you needed? Would you take her down? You're damn right I would take her down. That old bird would be out for the can. Do you know what I mean? If it's between me and the last Saturn game and her getting it for, what does the old lady need that last Saturn game for? What does she need it for? I don't know, maybe she's been collecting all her life or something and she's like a massive Saturn fan. I never thought about that actually. But whatever, in my opinion, that old bird does not need that last Saturn game. It's mine. And if I have to elbow drop an old bitch to get it, then I will do. Disclaimer, I really like old people. You should always respect old people. But when it comes to the last Saturn game, yeah, just give them people's elbow or something like that. I don't give a shit. And then the second question is, what would your superhero alter ego be? Basically, it would just be me, but with all the powers of Hiro Nakamura. Is that his name? Hiro Nakamura from Heroes. So basically, I would be able to manipulate time as I wanted to. So I could go through time, forwards or backwards. I could stop time on a whole, or I could stop time and manipulate it on a certain object or person. So yeah, I would basically be him. I'd basically be Hiro Nakamura. What's his name? Hiro Nakamori. Oh, I haven't seen Heroes for ages, but I'd be him. I am going to leave you, because yeah, there is going to be another part after this where your questions from Facebook, WhatsApp and YouTube will appear. So yeah, hopefully I could squeeze them all into one video and then get these Q&As out of the way, done and dusted, because you don't just want to see Q&As from me all the time, do you? So there you go. So yeah, thanks for watching this part. Yeah, stay tuned for the next part. See y'all later.